Most people dream about financial freedom, but Pete built his way to it, literally. From painting houses in the Arizona heat to owning over 100 rental units in the Phoenix area. But it certainly wasn't smooth. A lawsuit nearly wiped him out, but that pain became his pivot point, pushing him to trade sweat equity for real equity and real cash flow. So today, we've got Pete on the exit to unpack how he turned that setback into strategy, set a clear 5-year freedom goal, and resisted lifestyle creep even when the money started to pour in. So if you want the practical lessons and tactics that turn hard work into ownership, you'll definitely want to stick around to the end. This is On the Exit. All right, Pete, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Hey, so can you walk us a little bit through your journey? I mean, you were working in the construction industry, and over just a couple years, you achieved bona fide financial freedom through real estate. I mean, to go from painting houses and to building a 100-door rental portfolio in Phoenix over just a couple years, I mean, that's pretty impressive. What sparked that transition, and what were kind of some of the mindset shifts you had to make in order to get to where you are now?
Yeah, well, let me correct that a little bit. I mean, it didn't take a couple of years. It took a long time. There's no two ways about it. It took a long time, and it was not easy. I kind of did it the slow and steady way. I mean, I was a contractor for many years. I loved it, grinding away. I loved being a contractor, but I always knew that it was never going to truly provide me the life of freedom that I wanted down the road. And so my strategy was essentially to try to buy one income property a year with my profits. And so early on, I had a young family, and, I'm doing everything I can to provide a decent living for us. And so it really just came to a matter of how much can I make more than what we need to live off of, a modest lifestyle, and how much do I need in reserves? And then everything else was basically building a savings bank to get a down deposit for another property, one at a time. I never realized you could partner with people or raise capital or anything like that. That was just completely out of my wheelhouse. So I started with a goal to buy a property a year. And over the course of, several years, 10 or more years, it just kind of snowballs. And it's nothing spectacular for the first few years, but once you get 5, 7, 10 years down the road, I started buying more than one property at a time and really learning what I was doing, started redeploying capital, refinancing, doing the burst strategy and stuff, all while I was, the main operator in my other business. So the real estate portfolio got built literally from 5 to 10 o'clock at night and on the weekends, right, on the side. So it was slow and steady is really, for the most part. And then the last several years was more of a transition to accelerate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you kind of took the lessons learned over about a decade of, acquiring slow, being methodical, doing it the old fashioned way, saving money for a down payment to buy the next one, then letting it compound. And then you kind of refined your real estate investing strategy over probably, I would assume, through some of those lessons learned. And then over the last few years, it's kind of been, okay, now it's time to really put some gas behind this. Is that kind of how the trajectory's been?
Totally. Yeah. I invested my own money, figured things out along the way. And it was, I guess, maybe the turning point where I really turned it on was, I don't know. I was thinking about the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule, and it's nothing new, but I think I read a book. I'm not sure what book it was, but it brought it up to light, and I was doing a deep dive, and I looked back and I was at my business and my real estate portfolio, and I was like, well, holy shit, the real estate portfolio has grown so much. I saw how things compounded, and I always say real estate pays you 4 different ways, and when they all compound and then you've got multiple properties doing that, it was really turned out to be something special. And I'd spent so little time doing it compared to my contracting business, which was getting 90% of my time. And I made a decent income, but it really wasn't building the asset value or the net worth or anything. And I was constantly working. It's tough. It was really tough to remove myself at that time. So I started kind of a transition plan that took a few years really to transition out of the day-to-day in that business and become a full-time real estate investor. You mentioned my 5 years to freedom goal. And so that was part of it, was building up a rental portfolio that provided me enough passive income that would be financial freedom, which at that point I felt like I could either sell the business or step out of the day-to-day. As long as I didn't rely on the contracting business income, I felt like that would be financial freedom for me. So that number was 20 grand a month. And so once I hit that, I guess it gave me a good enough safety net financially, like just mentally, to really start to transition.
Yeah. So did you start, you said you started with your own money buying houses. Did you plan on raising capital, I guess, in the future? Or did it just kind of like, you kind of realized you could scale faster with raising capital? Or I'd be interested to hear how that came into play.
I had no clue that whole time that you could raise capital and do stuff like that. Wow. No clue. And so I had hit that freedom number and then kind of started transitioning out of that, that business. And then I realized I could raise capital in like maybe 2022 or something. And then I didn't actually raise capital for my first deal until 2023. So yeah, I mean, it was slow and steady. And I built a really decent portfolio, all with my own cash and redeploying equity, and luck. In hindsight's always 2020, right? I look back and I'm like, well, I'm really glad I didn't raise capital like in 2021, 2022, because if I had, maybe I would have made a lot more purchases in that peak market and be sitting on some distressed assets right now, which I'm not. I was investing all my own money. So yeah, I did buy some deals during those times, but I have no distress. Everything was like very conservative, and those properties that I bought are still performing really well. I have no issues, no short-term debt or anything. So it's like, in hindsight, I'm really glad that I didn't come across raising capital until things kind of shifted in that market.
Yeah. You might have hit the gas pedal too fast, right? Like a lot of people did.
Yeah.
I think it's it's kind of been our experience as well, is like Aaron and I both started real estate investing just with our own money. And then I know that, that's kind of just been the trajectory. It's your own money. And then maybe, a single JV partner that, you're just kind of splitting the responsibility, maybe splitting the capital investment or whatever. And then just sort of scaling over time. Once you've really proven that you can find good deals, that you know how to manage them, operate them, that you know how to make them successful. And then feeling more comfortable at that point because you've established a bit of a track record, right? I'm assuming with your investors, they feel a lot more comfortable with the fact that you did, 100 units or however many, I don't know the exact number, but, by yourself with your own money before you ever invited an investor to do a deal with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't feel comfortable even raising money if I wasn't comfortable investing my own. And I mean, all the deals I'm usually the biggest investor in the deals that I raise capital in anyway. So I'm still figuring that game out. I don't really have a big database of investors. I've got friends and family, and I've got some high net worth JV partners that we work with, but I don't really have a whole bunch of investors. So I'm still working on that. When I buy a deal, it's like, okay, I have the mindset like, okay, well, if nobody wants to invest in this, am I able to take this down on my own? That's still kind of my mindset. Yeah,
definitely a good way to approach it. Like, because you're almost just inviting people into a deal that you're already going to do, right. instead of saying, hey, I'm using your money to get this opportunity. It's something you're already kind of wanting to take down. Is it just single family homes you're buying, Pete?
No, I'm doing mostly small multifamily. Okay. I started with single family, and I think I still have maybe 8 or 10 of them, but I did realize that it's tough to scale in the single family game. Even though I love single families as a rental. I mean, we just turned a few of them, and I got to tell you that the demand will never go away for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a yard and a pool. Never in a decent area. You know what I mean?
The pool's critical in Phoenix too, right? I mean,
you need that pool.
You got to have that pool in Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. And the tenants are so sticky. My single family tenants, they'll stay usually on average somewhere between 3 and 5 years. So the turnover, like in the apartments, the turnover is a little bit more, but it's really it's tough to scale. And so I started buying apartments. I started with a couple of fourplexes, and I bought them in 2017. I paid more than the appraisal on them because I knew it was a good deal. I remember I sent this long-winded appraisal rebuttal. And since then, I've done a cash out refinance on them twice. I mean, these things have been golden gooses. And then from that, I've gone on to buy bigger ones. But I generally am looking to buy like a 20 to 50 unit property.
And you're managing them through I'd love to hear more about how you do everything, like from how do you find them? How do you manage them? Because it sounds like with your background and your Envision Property Services.
Envision Service Group, yeah. We do
service group, yeah.
Mostly painting and roofing is really what we do. But yeah, so the property management side, we actually outsource to third-party property management firms. So collecting the rent and all the leases and stuff, I don't want to mess with that. But I've got a good relationship with them to where if there's repairs needed, they'll send it over to my team, and then we'll either dispatch Envision or my asset stream management is, our asset management division. So we've got an in-house maintenance guy. And then if there's bigger work that needs to be done, we sub it out to my other company, Envision. Or, I've lived here for over 20 years. So I've got vendors and guys that just do everything. You know what I mean? And so rather than having a property manager outsource the HVAC company who's on commercials and charges a premium, she sends the work order over to my assistant, and he sends our HVAC guy who does it at cost. You know what I mean?
So I want to back up real quick, because a lot of our listeners and a lot of entrepreneurs in general, when they set out initially to build a business, so imagine when you set out to build your construction and home services business, right? Like a lot of the time that like building that business as profitably and as big and as successful as possible, like so many entrepreneurs have a hard time, or they just choose not to look beyond that, especially at the beginning. But a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of business builders, they never look beyond that. They just, this thing is my golden goose. This is the thing that's going to generate financial freedom and legacy wealth and all the things that I want to, set out to accomplish. Tell us, when in the journey of building your business did you discover that you wanted a different end game? You didn't, you recognized the need for, diverse, uncorrelated income streams and wealth building tools, and you landed on real estate, which, it's the same thing that Aaron and I have done and so many other folks realize is. So tell us about when you had that realization, and then what was the time lapse that happened from the moment you started to kind of see that I don't just want to depend on this business to be everything for me over the long term. I want to start kind of hedging and building these multiple layered but uncorrelated income and wealth growth, vehicles through real estate. Talk a little bit about that, the transition, and how you realized all that.
I think the whole time I knew that I wanted to own rental property and income property. And that goes back to reading, the little purple book in college that Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? But I just never had the means or wherewithal to actually do that. So in the back of my head, I knew that I needed to build up those properties and start, which is just getting the first one. And then the second one, I knew that was important. But really, I guess the big turning point where I really made it a big importance in my life was, I was facing a lawsuit. Somebody was pressing charges on me. We had done a big paint job for a commercial client, large one, and they were suing me for, well, the paint started peeling all over on this building, and it was it's called multiple coat peeling. So it wasn't our paint; it was like 5 coats under that was coming off. Our paint was sticking to the top layer, and so we did everything that right by the book, right? And we had the manufacturers come out and look at it, where there was nothing that we did wrong. And actually, our contract discloses that this is something that can happen. So anyway, it went to the courts, and I realized that whoever rules this, they could rule against me. And if I had to redo that building, they would actually make me sandblast everything, and it could potentially bankrupt me. And so we were not in the wrong for sure. And I was 100% convinced of that. But if the judge happened to rule the other way, I'd be screwed. And I had young kids at the time. I don't know if I had one or my second one on the way, but I was starting a family, and I realized that this is my only source of income. And if this judge decides to rule against me, I'm toast, right? So, I mean, at the time, I think I had 1 or 2 rental properties. And so that's when I realized, like, I really need a backup plan. And so along the way, when I was building it, it was a backup plan, my safety net, just in case something like that happened. And then you never know in whatever business you're in, if you're going to get sued or there's a workplace accidents or a government issue that really just takes away your ability to earn your income. And then also, I guess maybe stepping back, before I started my business, I worked for a large home builder, Toll Brothers, for 5 years. So I knew construction, but in the last boom and bust, and I literally saw everybody lose their jobs. We're talking people that were there for 20 years, 50, 60 years old, everybody with families. I was one of 32 project managers in the state of Arizona. And through that downturn, they laid off everybody except for me and one other guy, essentially. So, I mean, I saw people that had been working for this company for many years, and then all of a sudden it's just gone.
Yeah.
So then I saw that lawsuit for me. I thought I was doing the right thing by being self-employed, but I realized that I needed more income, different income. I needed to diversify. Real estate was what I know best and loved, and was what I knew that could provide me with a life of freedom. And so I started to double down on that. And that actually fueled my motivation to work harder and make more money as a contractor so that I could keep building the portfolio. And then to take that a next step further, a few years later, I was talking with I had hired like a business coach, consultant, and they're talking to me about like the A to B. Okay, you're here, you're A, and we got to identify your B. Where are you going? What does that look like? Helping me try to visualize that as a business owner. What do you want? And this company, they work with a lot of painting companies specifically, which was interesting. And so they're like, okay, well right now your revenue is here. Where do you want to go? And what I realized actually is that a lot of business owners, specifically contractors, they force revenue growth just to make the same profit or even less, right? It's a forced growth. And so I did like some soul searching. Like, what do I want? Do I want to go through that? Because that just means that I'm further in the weeds of this business, working harder and harder while I'm trying to be home and present for my family. So I came to the realization that what I want, my answer to her was, I want to earn more and work less, right? That simple statement resonated with me. How do I get to the point to where I earn more and I work less? And at that time, it was like, okay, it's not by doubling down in the painting business. It's by doubling down in buying income property.
Yeah. I feel like that whole story, I mean, it's like different details, but the most successful real estate investors that I know, they all have a similar kind of story arc. It's like, I was going one direction, doing one thing, always found real estate intriguing and interesting and something that I always wanted to do and maybe had done some of. But then some external crisis that was completely unpredicted came up that disrupted my confidence in my current means of producing income and wealth for my family, and ultimately realized that the way forward for me was hard assets, real estate, acquiring income producing assets. I mean, that's that's my story in a nutshell, right? Is I built a service-based business, a landscaping company that I exited at 26, spent 10 years in the mission space and nonprofit work, traveling, stuff like that, while trading in the stock market as kind of a side hustle, doing really well in that, thinking that the system was working, that the program was working. And then my son at 9 months old has a stroke and wipes me out, takes me out of the game of everything for 4.5 months, fighting for my son's life. And when the dust settles, I realize I've lost 40% of my net worth in stock market losses and in medical bills. And the only thing that was working for me when I couldn't work it was my real estate. And so it's okay. double down on the real estate. It creates that kind of stability and that safety net for so many people. And I think right now, I mean, just to kind of bring this to the audience and anyone listening, is we can believe that we're never going to personally experience a crisis like that if we want to believe that and roll the dice, and hopefully you never do. I mean, I hope nobody has to go through what I went through. I also hope nobody has to go through a lawsuit like what you went through, Pete. But the reality is that right now we're staring down the barrel of this, new, growing, unpredictable AI economy where everybody's job is at risk over the next 5 to 7 to 10 years. And I heard Pace Morby say, your neighbor down there in Phoenix, right? I heard Pace Morby say that there's going to be two types of people 7 to 10 years from now: those who own income producing hard assets and those who are living off of the government, universal basic income. I mean, that may be an extreme kind of fear-mongering way to say it, but it kind of paints the picture. It's like, I think every entrepreneur should be acquiring income-producing assets, whether they've faced a crisis of meaning or not, because surely with the way things are going right now, with the advancement of technology, there's really no income stream that, active income stream that's perfectly safe. Would you kind of agree with that, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to have diversity in that. To me, the way I describe it is you got to have an income engine and a wealth building engine. And so that's why I still have my other business, because I don't want to rely solely on real estate. You saw what happened in the last couple of years. You can't really, I think you need to have more than one reliable stream of income. And really, I think the best way is to have a solid income engine that feeds the wealth engine. And so that's kind of my strategy. Right. And I believe the wealth gap is widening. So the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And that's not going to change. I think it's only accelerating. And if you own the assets, then you're more than likely to get on the top side of that rather than the bottom side.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that they think, oh, it's too risky to do that, or, real estate is so risky, or it's so crazy, but it's like the alternative is just having one stream of income through your active work. To me, that's more crazy, and that's kind of what we've seen. People are like, oh, I can't believe you're buying all this stuff. And I'm like, that's less. I mean, there's risk in everything, right? But to not do that, and it's kind of like the lawsuit was almost a wake up call. I had a few moments in my life too, where it was like, man, I can't just rely on this one thing, that could be taken away. And I think even just you had your own business, so and still do, which is awesome. But even like W-2, where you're getting a single check from a company, and it's been around for a long time, and you're like, well, this is a great company, it's really secure, it's all these things, and then all of a sudden it can be gone. And so it sounded like you had a really long term, you've been plotting this for a while, of slowly building this to that place where now, you're way more safeguarded, from whatever could come at you, right? And so I think that's just awesome to me as an entrepreneur, just as another entrepreneur, just thinking about that, because even with entrepreneurs, so much of what we do is oh, it's just based on my, I'm going to go out and do this active work, and I know how to do it because I'm business oriented or whatever, but not realizing that could get taken away, and having those hard assets like real estate, can really offset a lot of that and help with risk, because it doesn't matter how much money you're able to go out and generate actively. There might come a time when somebody takes that away, or something happens where you can't generate it anymore actively. And so, it's something we always talk about, is just how to diversify, which is exactly what you've done.
Yeah. I think there's a trap that a lot of entrepreneurs get in, because if you're scaling a business, well, number one, most entrepreneurs, that's the majority of their net worth, is the value of the business. And if they're smart, they're setting it up for an exit down the road, and they're planning that and scaling it out. But there's a trap involved with that, which, one, you constantly need all your cash to keep scaling it. So you keep recycling your money into it to try to grow it, because, let's be real, you're always hiring people. You've got inventory, you've got receivables, right? And so you constantly feel like you need all your money to keep funding your business. And then you're relying your entire retirement plan essentially, or your future, on selling that business at some point. And it's tough to sell a business, depending on the business. And most people, I mean, I know a lot of people that have sold their businesses. I've sold one. But most people feel like their business is worth way more than a buyer does. And they don't realize that after it's sold, your take home is not nearly what you expected. So I think it's just a matter of, most entrepreneurs try to focus on their one egg, I guess, and not having that diversification or another strategy running sideline to that. You know what I mean? For example, like the last deal that I was putting together, reaching out to potential investors, which a lot of mine are entrepreneurs that I know.
Yep.
One of them was like, Pete, I really want to invest, but we're killing it this year. We're growing and I need all my money to fund that growth. The next one was like, Pete, I love this deal, but the market's killing me right now. And, we're not doing too well. And so I need my capital to fund the downside. So it's like, it's a trap, right?
Yep. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah.
No, it's like, the success in business demands money. And then when your business is struggling, it demands money. It's just like, But I think the point that you made, and we have one of our coaching clients as well that says this often, is the primary business, if you want to call it that, especially when you're kind of on the real estate investing come up. Now, I know that's more like your full-time thing. It's obviously more our full-time focus as well, but kind of when you're on the come up and you're working your way into that, a lot of people think of their business as the golden egg rather than the golden goose, right? And so the golden goose is the thing that lays the new resource regularly that you then take and put into the real estate and the other kind of hard asset backed investments or alternative investments, or even just in public markets, like doing something with it to help it grow uncorrelated to your business. It seems like that's a winning strategy. I mean, it works for people that actually follow through and do it like you. I mean, it works. It works to build financial freedom. And it's crazy to me that there's so many successful entrepreneurs with baller businesses that are generating cash, right? That aren't doing that are just continuing to ride the golden goose as if it's the golden egg. It's remarkable to me. Now, you've done something pretty cool, Pete, that I want our listeners to hear about, because it's something, and I kind of want to hear why you did it as well as what it is, right? Because at some point, it seems you wanted to be able to really serve and add value to folks who are looking for diversified investment opportunities. And, a lot of people who are looking to raise capital to scale a real estate portfolio would be very stingy with kind of sharing the platform with other competitors and people who are doing different deals. And we're all kind of competing for the same capital, but you took a different angle and started something called the deal room, right? Where you're marketing to paying money, putting effort, time into planning and marketing so that you can bring multiple different operators and investment opportunities and real estate and oil and gas and self-storage and mobile home parks and, private credit funds and all these different things, bringing them all into one room, kind of Shark Tank style, and having investors be able to come and kind of see which one of those opportunities resonates the most with them, right? And so, first I want to know why you did that. I love it. I think it's a phenomenal thing. I think it's an awesome strategy, and I think everybody on Own the Exit should sign up for the deal room if they're interested in alternative investments at all. So I want to hear why you did it, what sparked that, and then kind of fill in any gaps. I mean, I know I kind of shared high level what it is, but I want our listeners to hear more about it.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. It is kind of cool. It's still pretty new. We've only done 2 sessions. We've got the third one coming up, December 4th. But I created an event that I wanted to attend, essentially, and I realized, I'm in a number of different mastermind groups, and everybody that I know is doing cool stuff. Different asset classes, different geographies. We've got operators, and I know investors, I know business owners that have had exits or they're scaling their business. And I was just trying to come up with a way to bring everybody together, like in a room, and create a cool environment where everybody can see what everybody's doing, and also match operators that are looking for capital with investors who are looking for opportunity. Right. And so I just started brainstorming it, and we just ran with it. And I've had a really good response. And so generally what we do is we'll bring in 5 or 6 people who have opportunities that they're raising capital for, and everybody gets 5 minutes to pitch their deal. It's a really quick, high energy, thing that we do online. And so people tune in. You can tune in from your desk and have lunch, from the gym or whatever. You got to be live to watch it, but it's high energy. It's really cool. I mix up. I take a lot of pride in trying to curate a really cool lineup. So I'll mix in some private equity. We've had a guy doing a deal for a brewery. We've had other private equity stuff, a lot of real estate. So I try not to have like the same, everybody's doing apartment complexes or whatever,
right?
All different stuff. We've had 2 different oil and gas people. We've had, industrial offerings. And so it's really cool. Everybody gets to see what people are working on, what kind of investment profiles are available. We do some Q&A. And so, I'd love it if you come check it out. We're always looking for good operators to present their deal. And I have not finalized that yet for the next session. So if there's any people that are raising capital for a cool and unique deal, definitely reach out. The website is dealroomonline.com. And from there, you can sign up just to attend and watch or listen. Or there's also a link where you can apply to be a presenter. And I don't let just anybody apply. You'll have to fill out an application. There's a little bit of pre-qualification involved because I want to make sure that we're providing a good experience for everybody.
Yeah, that's neat.
That's phenomenal. So it's dealroomonline.com.
Dealroom Online.
If you're listening to Own the Exit right now, you're interested in learning more, just go to dealroomonline.com, sign up as a potential investor who wants to see some cool opportunities, or apply if you're an operator, you're raising capital for a deal or a business or some other asset. Then I think it's a phenomenal concept, Pete, and thanks for sharing about it.
One of the things that I realized too, just stepping back, like, okay, I put together my own deals like a lot of people do, but I also partner with other people who have cool deals, and I invest as an LP in other deals through my IRA, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're like me, where you're doing a little bit of everything, it really gives you a nice mix there.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Such a cool concept. And I think our listeners will benefit a great deal from checking out dealroomonline.com. So, hey, we're kind of getting to the end here, man. I feel like there's so much that we could talk about. I'm excited that we're going to be actually this week, tomorrow, out there in Phoenix with you, hanging out a little bit. So that's going to be fun. We'll get to connect more, but, we're going to jump into the exit round. We got 5 questions we ask every guest that jumps on the show. And, I'm excited to hear your answers, man. So let's dive in. Question number 1. What's your all-time favorite business book?
The purple one. No.
The little purple book.
Yeah, everybody says that. There's one book that in the last year that I've read that I think probably stuck out. Well, there's a couple, but Turning Pro is really good. If you haven't read that one, I would say that's my number one. And then the other one that really resonated with me was 10X is easier than 2X.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll give you 2 books. Those are my top 2 for the last year.
Phenomenal.
All right, Pete, number 2, what percentage of your current income is fully passive?
It's a tough one to quantify. I mean, I pull a small W-2, but the majority of the income is through real estate rents and capital gains, I guess, if I sell, and then refinance activity. So I would say, comparing that to my W-2, it's definitely more than double. But I guess I still work my ass off, so I feel like I'm always back.
It's kind of like passive income is kind of like a unicorn, isn't it? It's like we all like it. It's all beautiful, but does it really exist? Is it really a thing? I don't know.
It's kind of a myth, but also I think what it is, once you start making that passive income, work becomes fun.
Yeah.
And then you're just working more, right? And so I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So What's one thing that you wish you could do more of, but kind of your business commitments hold you back?
I wish I could buy more real estate, but there's only so much of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, that's all I want to do really is hunt deals.
Yeah.
I travel a lot and business does not hold back for me. I just got back from a 2-week trip to Egypt. So that's integrated into my annual calendar is some big bucket list trips. Mm-hmm. But I want to buy more deals, and you've got to make sure the ones that you just purchased get started up and running. And I'm still building my team and stuff. But that's all I want to spend my time doing business wise is buying more deals and hunting and finding the gems that are under the stones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good.
So if you could go back in time, what would you tell your former self, young self, about building a business?
About building a business early on, I really didn't realize that, you could plan a sale or an exit, or there's a bigger picture other than the income. And so I would tell myself to really get a lot more clear on the end game, what I'm looking for, and visualize, the lifestyle that I want, and to surround myself with the people that are living that life early on. Mm-hmm. It took me several years to really get to that point. But when I started the business, it was really just, I'm going to start this business because it's the best way that I know to earn a decent income for myself and my family.
Yeah. No, that's really, really good. Really mm-hmm. good. So give us your strategy, and we probably kind of take it away from our conversation, but I'd love 1 or 2 strategic tips for creating time freedom and financial freedom.
I think the freedom comes from leverage.
Yeah.
And so I leverage in real estate. I feel like I have the most leverage because I leverage banks. I can leverage capital from my partners. Mm-hmm. And I leverage people, property managers and stuff like that. Now, other people get that leverage in their businesses. I mean, you've got people leverage and money leverage. Yeah. Whatever your leverage is, those levers, the more you can leverage, the more freedom you provide yourself because you're maximizing the output versus your input, right? And so that's what I would say really creates freedom.
That's phenomenal, man.
Yeah, that's good, man.
This conversation's been great. Excited to continue it off camera over the next couple of days, hanging out with you in Phoenix. It's going to be fun. So anybody listening to Own the Exit, checking this episode out, you definitely want to go to dealroomonline.com to get more connected with Pete and all the baller cool things that he's doing right now in the real estate and alternative investment space. Man, Pete, it's been awesome having you on the show. Any kind of last words you want to share with the audience here before we wrap this one up?
You know what? Determine what the life of your dreams looks like and go for it. You only get to live once. Why not go for it?
That's right. I love it.
Being good, man. Thanks for sharing and joining us.
Great. Thanks for having me, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Exit.